Our government is deeply in debt after what can only be described as a decade of profligacy. Now, the fact is, 10 years ago, we had a budget surplus of more than $200 billion, with projected surpluses stretching out toward the horizon. Yet over the course of the past 10 years, the previous administration and previous Congresses created an expensive new drug program, passed massive tax cuts for the wealthy, and funded 2 wars without paying for any of it.
Still blaming that evil Bush, and this time wasting no time doing it. The president's comment coming 16 seconds into his budget announcement today. Former Clinton advisor Richard Goodstein, though, says keep it going. So, Richard, one of my most favorite folks on the left, you say keep at it, right?
You know, repetition is the name of the game in politics, and I actually tip my hat to President Obama. It's not finger-pointing, Neil.
Yes,
I've heard you say over and over on your air. No.
Yes,
it's no more finger-pointing than it was for Ronald Reagan to talk about the crummy economy and the hyperinflation that he inherited from Jimmy Carter, or FDR, the crummy economy, obviously, in spades, that he inherited from
Richard, this
Hoover.
guy does it in every speech. Every speech.
No,
At what point does it become his economy? At what point does it become his deficit?
Yeah, here's what he's trying to do. He's trying to keep the country from engaging in a mass case of amnesia. Because only if he reminds people that we had negative 6% growth a year ago and positive 6% growth today, only if the president, using that bully pulpit, says it over and over again, will people know it. Let me give you one illustration. The stimulus had, indisputably, the single biggest middle-class tax cut ever. I guarantee you.
So what did we get for it? What did we get for it? What did we get for it?
Well, what we got was going from negative 6% growth to positive 6% growth. We all know that unemployment is a lagging indicator.
So it wasn't anything having to do with cycling out like we normally, after 18, 24 months of recessions, that's what happened.
With all due respect, go back and read the press as the stock market was tanking around the time between late 08 and early 09. All the forecasts were that maybe, if we were lucky, we would pull out a recession by the middle of 2010. In fact, we pulled out by the summer of 2009.
We lost more than 2 million additional jobs. So I guess we could have created or saved some, or whatever the new math is. All I'm saying on this, Richard, is there has to be a point at which you claim responsibility for the economy you're in. I mean, 3 years from now, assuming he's running for re-election, is the president still going to go back to blame his predecessor? I mean, how much do you keep pushing this?
Well, again, with all due respect, FDR did that in 1936 and won the biggest landslide in the nation's history.
Let's say you're right on that. I don't know what FDR was saying. Unlike you, I'm not that old. I am saying, okay. I'm kidding. I'm just saying, Richard, I mean, there does come a point when you, as a leader, stop blaming others. I mean, John Kennedy could have blamed Dwight Eisenhower for the Bay of Pigs that was sort of thrust upon him. But eventually he just said, all right, I got this. I'm the guy. End of story. I claim responsibility. His poll numbers went up the next day.
Yeah, Eisenhower wasn't the one who called for us to go into the Bay of Pigs. But it's not that he's blaming President Bush in particular.
Yes,
He's saying, here's the hand we were dealt. What he said to the Republicans on Friday at their retreat was, we would have had $8 trillion in deficits over the coming year based on President Bush's forecast.
But, Richard, if you're going to do this nonsense, then where do you end it? I mean, because you could obviously say, as the former president could say, well, I had this internet bubble bursting 10 years ago, this very month, by the way, and I also had this other little item called 9/11. And these are things that happened under my watch. But that's all glossed over in this great, sort of debate as to who claims what, and that Bush is all bad. Look, I'm not an apologist for the former president. I called him on spending and rescues in his administration as well. The fact of the matter is, you know this isn't fair. You know this isn't right. You know glossing over the implosion of the Internet and what that meant to the stock market and 9/11 and what that meant to everybody misses a couple of key points that isn't fair, that isn't right, and, in fact, that's morally reprehensible.
Well, no. What's morally reprehensible is propounding the notion that somehow or other this budget and this president is doing something that's off the charts, when, in fact,
Richard,
what he inherited was going to get us to...
It's not what I'm eating, it's a thyroid condition. People at home are going to say, Kavuta, will you stop it?
Let me use one illustration. And during the 08 campaign, John McCain was asked, what would you do about the deficits? He said, I definitely cut Medicare and Social Security. This year, don't touch Medicare. That would be horrible for our seniors.
Now you're shifting. Now you're going all over the map. But you're still brilliant, and I still love you. And Richard, I'm just saying we disagree.
I'm reminding people of what the facts are. That's all.
Well, you're loosey-goosey with these facts. Richard, let's get you back soon again. Always good seeing you.
Fine.
Richard Goodstein. All right, well, if tax